Well, here we are, as Mamovi promised, is the news review segment of the show, and we're going to dig into the few papers we have, pretty lean ones too. You can tell the Daily Graphic is on a diet today. I think it's doing keto.
Yeah, but I think they've done well to actually print on the holiday, because usually we would not get papers on the holiday.
You can always tell when it's a holiday when you pass by the news vendors. You'll see that no, today is a holiday.
Okay, so we will deal with the three newspapers that we have. We have three, right?
We have three.
Okay, exactly. And then we will do the online portal. So I've got the Daily Graphic.
And I have the Ghanaian Times and the Daily Guide. Kudos to all three for giving us something to read this morning.
All right, shall I?
Yep.
The Daily Graphic newspaper, and here's what's on the front page today. Freeze on executive wage positive. Expedite action on workers' plights. Labour urges government. So a few things that Labour put to government. It was a ceremony organized Labour described the decision by President Akufo-Addo to freeze the 2021 wage increment for the executive branch of government for this year as a positive move. And then, there was also another call, and when we get to more details, I'll share that it should be extended to the chief executives and heads of quasi, institutions as well. But World Press Freedom Day climaxes today. It's also another story in the paper. Police investigate Christ's embassy for flouting COVID-19 protocols. Relinquish SNIT supervisory role or face legal action. Clocksack cautions Finance Ministry. If you go to the center spread of the paper, performance of free SHS student in Wasi justifies investment. That's President Akufo-Addo saying that the West African Senior School Certificate Examination results of the first batch of the free senior high school candidates have justified the decision of the government to invest heavily in free quality education for young people. Green Card Project team solicits Council of State support. The Ochehene Osajifo Mwetio for Repenning has called for an all-hands-on-deck approach to win the fight against illegal mining, popularly called galamsey, and its devastating impact on the environment. Back page now. Mediama maintained grip on top position. Olympics beat Liberty 2-0 to go third. We also lost our game, by the way, and I'm talking about Hatzafok. But,
Oli seems to be back to winning ways. I'm happy for them, actually. I mean, it started going down, the draw with Kotoko and then a loss, but at least they're finding their feet again. I'm happy for them because they've been in the wilderness for a while. So I'm happy that this time round they're doing something good. Inside Africa, that's the page 5 of the Daily Graphic. Pro-Gbagbo exiles return home after 10 years, and it's the exiled supporters of ex-president Laurent Gbagbo returned after 10 years of exile at the same time as the release of 100 prisoners accused of violence related to the 2020, presidential election was announced. Nigeria restricts visitors from India, Brazil, Turkey over COVID-19. Sounds like a similar call that the NDC in Parliament is making, that we put specific restrictions on countries recording high COVID-19 cases. Nigeria seemed to have done exactly that. DR Congo declares state of siege over Eastern Black Shirt. Militants killed at least 19 people, including 10 soldiers, in raids on 2 villages in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo last Saturday, hours after President Felix Tshisekedi declared a state of siege in 2 provinces. And then Kenya to ban romantic relationships between police officers. They plan to ban romantic relationships between police officers. The move is aimed at reducing the high rate of crimes of passion among officers, the Interior Minister said at a televised ceremony taking place at a police college. And this is a quote from Wogis. I find this fascinating, by the way. The regulations first need to be given the stamp of approval by the National Security Council, which oversees all the country's security forces. In the military, relationships were already banned between officers of different ranks, he explained. In the last few months, there has been increase in spousal murders among police officers. We cannot look away anymore and not address some of the challenges that we have in the security sector. I'm not sure I know our policy in terms of relationship in the police service. So if you're a police person watching us, you might want to give us a bit of education. Are you allowed to marry each other?
You do even recall that, I've forgotten, is it Infanteman, the former MP who lost his life? I mean, may his soul rest in peace. He had been in the service, right? Before, and I want to believe, because at the time we were told both of them, in fact, his spouse still was a police officer, a high-ranking one, unless memory doesn't serve. So I want to believe when they got married, they were both, people in the service, from what I know people who have got married. So I don't think in Ghana there's any such ban, but it's obvious that in Kenya things are heating up. I don't know we might have to get into the story to find out why this ban is being
the explanation is spousal murders.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
an increase
What,
in that.
access to...
So a lot of passion
ammunition
crimes.
or what?
I'm not sure. This is just, that was what was said in the story. But yeah, we can dig in further.
I think that's a rather brash way of doing it, to brush everyone with the same, brush strokes. That's a bit...
Well, we can't have you killing each other. What kind of service will we have in the end?
What sort of, again, like I'm saying, we might have to get into it a bit more, but I'm not knowing, I don't know the nexus, the sort of linkages they've made to these, that they can say, well, it's because you're in the service that these killings are happening. But
so they say that going forward, it will be illegal for a police officer to date or get married to a fellow law enforcement officer. If it happens that two police officers fall in love, then one has to leave the service. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a choice, right? It's like in some work environments. If you want to, then one of you must be willing to let go of the
Other people allow for different departments. So maybe you're in programs, you can date somebody in IT. But this one, they say, not even in different departments. It ain't happening. All right, I guess those are the headlines that I've picked from the Daily Graphic newspaper.
Now, mischief is coming to my mind. I'm wondering whether some co-hosts would get it on the same show and how that media house would react.
I think that I am safe. So you should be yourself.
No, not you definitely, but I'm just wondering, a major show in this country.
Why not?
And if the two of them, I mean, do you know why I find it funny? The day they have any tiff at home or something, I can imagine how the show will be like, Charlie, Frosty Pa, Cold War, US and the Soviet Union. But anyway, interesting times. Let's get into the Ghanaian Times newspaper now. And to reduce COVID-19 impact on economy, no salary increment for executive. We got that from the Daily Graphic as well. We're ready to partner government, revamp economy. That's according to the TUC. Then there's desist from encroaching on state lands at East Legon. And that's the lands minister who's been saying that, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. I'm asking, though, those members of government, executive especially, who also go, should I say, grabbing lands as well, what happens to them? Man, 18 stabs brother to death. Just a few bits I'll take from the paper. Apart from the headlines, there are some other very interesting stories. Now, the bit I just mentioned about the man stabbing his brother, the police have arrested Emmanuel Akroma for allegedly stabbing his older brother, Benya Akroma, 25, to death at Esaman, near Sekandi in the Western region. And the head of police public affairs in the Western region, Deputy Superintendent of Police Olivia Irabna Adiku, said about 11 p.m. on Thursday, Madam Esi Kakraba, resident at Esaman near Nkontompo, a suburb of Sekandi, reported the tragedy to the police. And that is how it panned out. Apparently, Emmanuel stabbed Benya with a sharp object at the throat. Doesn't look good. Then lover pushes girlfriend out of moving car. I highlight this again because I think a lot of these
Lover pushes
relationship
girlfriend out of a moving car.
Scuffles and all of that. Do you realize over the last few months we've had quite a number of these? I don't know whether it's, of course, a lot of them happen that don't come to the fore, that don't get into the papers, but there's a certain trend. Killing. Now this one, it appears violence is becoming very rampant, and this time it's one Rayburn Anyadi, 57, unemployed, who deliberately, per the story, pushed his girlfriend out of his moving car to avoid paying her money he owes her.
Ah, yeah. I think I first read about the story, was it a week or 2 weeks ago? So it's progressing.
Yes, it is.
Which is good.
It's progressing. Police investigate Christ Embassy Church violation of COVID-19 protocol. I guess when it comes to COVID-19, Christ Embassy has been in the picture for all the wrong reasons. But there's a story there. Apparently, they had an event at the Fantasy Dome. The police says it had no idea what was going on. And the people there, the congregants together with their pastors, no one wearing a mask. Trader gets 15 years for defiling former girlfriend's daughter. I'll just do page 10. Have you been following the situation in Myanmar?
Oh, I got tired of it, so I don't know where it is now.
So it's months down the line, but explosions have rocked Myanmar's largest city. And
Explosions?
the people, yes.
Oh, okay.
As protesters held flash marches for democracy and overnight candlelit vigils. You can see some of the placards here. We don't accept military coup and all of that, but it appears not much is changing.
But the military is still very much in charge.
Yes. So I'll just do 3 more stories, Mama V. And I'm highlighting this because we've often been told of development plans. I think recently the NDPC launched another one. Every 4 to 8 years, we have a plan, actually, on paper. On paper. So 5 years into Saudi Vision 2030, page 8 talks about their achievements since its launch, the tourism sector, military industry, energy, and all of that. And I'm asking, for those who said we don't need plans that go beyond 5 to 10 years, China still plans, a decade, 2 decades plus in advance. What can we say when it comes to our own national development planning?
There are a lot of things that we plan beautifully. And, once you said that, I was just trying to go back to something that was launched last week. It was a mental health policy. Something that we first did, I think, back in 1994. A lot of the recommendations we did not implement. There was an update again in 1996, same story. And then now we're launching another one. And I don't know whether to be hopeful, expectant, whether I should say, new day, so whatever. We have beautiful plans. As for that one, dear.
Vision 2020.
That one, dear.
Vision 2020.
We go on and then we come back. Yeah. And then you see, we launched the same thing, so just different covers and different dates and different promises. But then we come back after a few years and then we'll do the same.
So it appears we're running at a very fast pace, but we remain at the very same spot.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I'll end with this. Allow students who decide to fast for religious reasons. That's Cassandra Chum Ampofo. I nearly called her Cassati, but that's different.
That is what the Ghana Education Service has now arrived at. But they first of all say that the directive from Wesley Girls High School did not breach any regulation. I mean, that was because they were coming from a certain place.
Yeah.
And it was not just to one religious grouping, but this is a broad directive, no fasting in the school.
Yeah.
But now that has been reviewed because the Ghana Education Service is directing all schools. I wonder though, because we've seen Ghana Education Service give direction and then it has, it has not been followed.
And it fell in water, so to speak.
I wonder if this is one of those directives where the schools now decide that even though the Education Service says that this is what we should do, we have a choice to do or not to do. So, yeah.
But it's an interesting matter. You heard Sheikh the other day and the number of things he had to say about the disappointment of even the chief imam and how it could be a national security threat that this is not being allowed to happen. Well, let's see how the
But
school
we
reacts.
should be careful, oh. You know, we should be careful. And that's why I don't like it when issues like that come out. The way that the issue with the Rasta, this one has come out.
You would
We
prefer
should
them to be
able
settled
exactly. We should be able to deal
behind
with
in
things
the background.
quietly.
Right.
Because those are super sensitive matters. And when you open it, we will get all sorts of people also coming out now and saying that, do this for me, do that for me. So we need to be more diplomatic and deal with things quietly. We've been doing that for a long time. I don't know why suddenly now we seem to take very...
People have realized that sometimes to get results, you must blow it up. You must get it out there in the media. But that's where it behoves us as media people also to sometimes sift through. But you see what the challenge is? Usually, if you let go of some of these stories, before you realize it, your competition is doing it, and you are.
But it doesn't even start with us.
It
doesn't start with us. The Rasta issue, the build-up was on Facebook in particular.
Well,
So
but it is. It still is in the media.
When
I mean,
people,
it's just
so here's the little thing that I would say. You know, the heads of our institution should know that things have changed. You know, it's not the traditional society any longer.
Right.
So you can't sit in the comfort of your office and tell someone that this is the action that I have taken, take it or leave it. It's not like that, because the next thing you know, it is gone and everybody else is talking about it and it's out of your hands. So they must know and change the ways that they address issues. It can't be like that any longer. You must be mindful of what the consequences could be. And it could become a national conversation that's not even started by the traditional media. They should know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the power of social media now.
Yeah.
Well, the Daily Guide now very quickly. Set us free Opuni Agongo demand. And then there's Akufo-Addo graduates blow Wasi. I listened to a conversation on this the other day on Ghana Connect with Evans Mensah, and quite some interesting thoughts that came up. You would hear the likes of Kofi Asare also talking about the fact that the leakages and all of that could have compromised this. And while we are celebrating the 411 students who apparently, you know, got those straight A's and all of that, versus what's our counterparts in West Africa got, we ought to be looking at the system and the loopholes in the system. We could be celebrating something that really isn't much.
Celebrating mediocrity.
Exactly. Well, then there's National Executive solving Volta NPP feud. Abronye exposes fraud in MMDCE selection. I just want to see what the entertainment page has today. And it says, J.J. Rawlings was a blessing to Musiga. That's Alaji. Sidiku Buhari stating that. And Grammy Awards scrap controversial voting committees. That's also in there. So that's it for the Daily Guide newspaper.
Okay, so back to the Daily Graphic on the issue of the Christ Embassy. Just an update. So police yesterday invited for questioning the leaders of a charismatic church, Christ Embassy Church in Ghana, over an alleged gathering by the youth of the church who blatantly disregarded the COVID-19 safety protocols at an event at the Fantasy Dome Trade Fair Center in Accra last Friday. Also, the management of the venue was invited for questioning as part of police investigation. And this is all because of a trending video of the alleged gathering dubbed Pneumatic Night. Ben, pneumatic, I see what you're saying. Which showed an event that had a mass crowd. Excuse me?
I know of a pneumatic drill.
Okay.
But pneumatic nights, I have no idea.
So there's been lots of reactions, like lots of reactions. When I saw it initially, I thought, oh no, this couldn't be true. I wasn't so quick to believe that it happened in Ghana until, I guess, it became convincing that, yeah, especially when the police also issued a statement to that regard. But here's the thing, so they're now investigating, okay? But we have a national security in Ghana, and this was such a huge gathering. And I'm worried that even if we did not know that that was going to happen, in the course of it, there was still no intelligence that was picked up.
No tip-off, nothing
That's
happened.
very worrying because Fantasy Dome is such a huge venue.
Exactly. And imagine pockets of these happening across the country. That could only affect our COVID-19, situation in the country. Mama, I just checked. So pneumatic drill, yes, but pneumatic actually also means spiritual. And the pneuma refers to the spirit or soul. By the way, this is pneuma with a P starting the word. So
okay.
that's it. So spiritual night.
Thank you, my English professor. But let me also say that it is not just Christ Embassy with this video that's trending. There are lots. So for what we see on television, what we are showing right now is something that should not happen per the protocols, per what we have in place. Like this is a no. And the fact that they're not wearing masks, like loads of them not wearing masks, they're doing all the things that
leaders without masks, congregants without
that we're not
masks.
To do. Okay, but I have also seen funerals being held on parks.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Don't even.
So the thing is that like we're all breaching it. That's what I'm saying.
No, but our politicians were breaching it in before the elections. They were doing saying. I'm not saying it is, but this has been happening. Like really, it's been happening. But the police didn't get aggressive on them because they were politicians. They were bigwigs. So you see where the problem is. It is not leadership by example in this country. It is failure by example. And the people copy what they see. But I also blame this on the leadership of the church. Because Christ Embassy, I mean, in the UK, they were cited.
Fine. They were fine, actually.
So I don't know.
The communications regulators was 125,000 pounds or so.
Pounds.
And
just about.
But so when I see on Saturday a whole funeral being held at a park, with all the tents erected, with military and police given protection in the form of directing traffic and trying to get people who are going to the funeral.
But this is okay.
When I see that, because that shouldn't be happening per the directive that was issued, the very last one, we were told that you can have a burial service in the church. When you're doing the cemetery, there's a limited number of no more than 25. That's what we were told. That has not changed, has it? So when I see people, but apart from the park thing, I also saw people in my area. People bus people, they put up tents, and they do the funeral, the one where they share the food and do all the things. So where is the enforcement?
Those who have got married, so to speak, now there are so many things to delineate, weddings, marriages, but those who have tied the knot in recent times, I try to avoid a lot of these events. The few that I've been to, Mama V, what I saw, and at some of them you would see high-ranking officials of state, some of them police officers there. Sometimes I just watch and
you have MC
move away
events,
because these things are happening right under their noses. They see them.
But you stood there to MC the event. Did you call them out?
No, I wasn't MC for this event.
Are you sure you didn't take any cash?
No.
Okay, then let me.
These were events I was invited to.
Let me hold it there. There's one more story on Clocksack and this SNIT issue.
Yeah.
The Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana has asked the Ministry of Finance to relinquish its supervisory role over the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. The association says it would be compelled to take legal action against the ministry if it failed to renounce the role. Details of that you can read on, and we've talked about the freeze on executive wage, where there's a call that it should be extended as well. This was all part of Labor Day. And I guess I am done really with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Any stories to highlight before we do myjoyonline.com?
Let's do this one on page 7. Security services urged to be vigilant, professional. And the Upper West Regional Director of the National Commission for Civic Education, Madam Patience Salikuma, has reiterated the need for security services to be vigilant and professional in their line of duty. She said the vigilance of the security services was to further discourage people from getting recruited into potential terrorist and secessionist groups in the region. The regional director stated this at an event to commemorate the 2021 annual Constitution Week. One thing I feel we've not faced the brunt of is the terrorist activity in our sub-region. Like I've said, I've been in countries where I escaped terrorist attacks by the skin of my teeth. But here in Ghana, we appear to have escaped it. But if we take it for granted and think that Bibian to me, before we realize it, we would see, say, security in our tone zoom. So we ought to really be careful. We're walking a fine line. There's a lot we can check out online as well. Mama V, would you like to walk us through?
Yeah, definitely. Let's start with myjoyonline.com. We'll start with Joe Wise, who appeared on the probe with MFR Powell. He talks about Ablakwe's resignation from the appointment committee.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, once they form a quorum, it doesn't matter from this side or that side. You leave, you will be replaced. So lots of
they move.
Yeah. You can't stall the work of the appointment committee, apparently. And then the social media reactions as thousands gather for Christ Embassy Pneumatical Night 2021. There was a very good education with Martin Pebu, Samson Ladi on the law. Bail after conviction is allowed. That's just one aspect of it. I had to go back and listen from the very beginning. Please do. If you missed it yesterday, very educational for all of us. The fact that people take, some police officers would ask you to give money for bail. They say, no. Some of the things that we must know so that we can also enforce it. And the fact that when you are arrested on a criminal charge, for instance, you have the right to say you won't write anything. You have the right to be quiet. And then the police investigation of the same matter of the Christ Embassy. This was also in our news. One person dies after fire raises slum at Asafo. Chief authorizes manhunt for persons responsible for killing Bull Elephant. GS Direct Wesley Girls, other senior high schools to permit students to fast. Free SHS initiative has come to stay, according to the sector minister. Minority in Parliament furious over government failure to procure COVID-19 vaccines for Ghanaians. There are plenty other headlines on myjoyonline.com. I think we move to another portal. Which one is this, guys? Okay, Graphic Online, Ben.
Well, it says intensified teachings on adverse effects of LGBTQI+. Then there's Bono Police releases charcoal burners body. And then there's ECOWAS proposes establishment of lab to produce, I believe that would have to be vaccines. When you go a bit lower, there are a few stories there. Review free SHS Nagrat proposes and take interest in nation building. Madam Nkrumah there of the NCCE. Maybe we'll wrap with this one. What Mahama said when he met NDC professionals. That's a video that is actually there.
All right, so let's end it with the BBC. Modi losses in battleground state amid COVID surge. So this is the reason they actually flouted a lot of their own protocols, and then they lost big time as well. As India,
it didn't pay off.
Has been criticized for focusing on the election as the virus grips the country. And here's the thing: they are blocking out news reports that are actually putting the blame on him.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a while now.
Yeah. South Africa's royal succession royal heads to court. South Africa to ban lion breeding for cat petting. Emotions have been simmering for 16 years. Oh, this is the Manchester United, the Glazers family. And the reaction yesterday was massive. The pitch invasion, the postponement of that game against Liverpool. If Liverpool had won, by the way, it would have meant that Manchester City would have just picked the cup for the season. Is it something that will eventually happen that we're just postponing?
Would you have me react to that? No, but I think on a more serious note, unless the gods of football decide to do something extraordinary, I can't see how Manchester United, my team, the Red Devils, would go past Manchester City. And honestly, I think City deserves it.
Yeah.
I think they do.
Well, Inter Milan also picking up the Serie A Cup over the week. They haven't done this in 11 years.
But if you look at the positions from second to about fifth, it's anybody's, trophy, basically. Or the second place, it could be for anybody in the Italian Serie A. So quite a bit.
Also following the female Champions League, and there's Barca and Chelsea in the finals. Yeah. Okay, well, lots of things happened over the weekend. We'll bring you a wrap of all that you have missed. If you follow Formula One as well, then you know that Hamilton also did his thing again over the weekend.
Lewis Hamilton. But on AM Sports today, we replay our conversation with Amida Abiola Brima, the latest Ghanaian to feature in the NBA following the footsteps of Ben Bentel and Pops Bonsu. He signed a 2-year contract with the Indiana Pacers a few days ago and scored 6 points, made 3 rebounds and 2 blocks in his first appearance for the Pacers in only 9 minutes. Amida has been telling George Addo Jr. about his battles in the G League, how his family has been by him, and is the second Ghanaian-bred player to feature in the world's biggest basketball league. Enjoy.